So today I'm going to be showing you the books on my I want to read list, and I will be telling you why I want to read each one. I used to read a lot more, especially in middle school and elementary school. The first book series I got interested in was Warrior Cats. um, and then middle school I would read various books, but then high school got busy, so I kind of stopped reading. I only read books that were assigned to us, but now I'm trying to pick up reading again. So yeah, here we go. So the first book is called The High Price of Materialism by Tim Kasser. This book is basically about how consumerism and materialism is affecting us psychologically, which is something that interests me a lot. Consumer culture really interests me, and so does psychology, so it's like a combination of both of them. I've started the first chapter, which has been interesting, but I haven't had the time yet to finish it, but this is the first book on my wanting to read list. The Sun and Her Flowers is second, and I know that there is a lot of mixed opinions on this book, and I've actually already read it, but I want to read it again because it sounds like so cliche and basic, but it really got me through a rough time, and I think back to the poems a lot, and I look through it whenever I'm feeling sad, so it's something that I just want to go through again. And despite a lot of the criticism that she faces, I do like Rupi Kaur, and I like this poetry book, so I will be reading this again. Next is Ready Player One. This is something that I could have read in English class, but I chose a different book instead. I saw the movie and it's always really interested me, so I thought I might as well read it. I'm about halfway through, or a little less than halfway. I'm like around here, and it's been really interesting. I like dystopian books, and things involving virtual reality interest me a lot, so I'm excited to finish this. Next, I am rereading my favorite book ever, Lord of the Flies. Lord of the Flies has always been my favorite book. I read it in 10th grade because we were supposed to read it in school, but then my teacher changed her mind at the last minute. But I personally wanted to read it, so I did, and I'm very glad that I did. And me and one of my friends want to go through it together. That's why I have some bookmarks at places. And yeah, it's just such a powerful book about human nature, which is something that fascinates me. I really want to read The Handmaid's Tale. I've skimmed through a lot of it, but I want to just sit down and read all of it. I've seen a few of the episodes on Hulu, but violence kind of upsets me, and I don't really like violent shows. So I'm going to be reading the book instead. Feminism is something that really interests me, and Margaret Atwood is a classic feminist author, so I'm going to be reading this. So next is this book called The Exchange Student Survival Kit, and I probably should have read it by now because I leave for Japan next Friday, but I plan to read it on the 13-hour plane ride, and it just talks about etiquette, how to deal with your host family, and things like that. Okay, so for this one, I'm honestly not really sure what it's about, but someone I really admire recommended it to me. It's called The Sound and the Fury, and I know it's a classic, so I'm going to read it. I really have no expectations going into this. I don't even know the basic plot. On the back it says the tragedy of the Compson family. So yeah, I am excited to read this. The Elegance of the Hedgehog is something that I almost finished. I think I had like 2 chapters left, but I got so busy this year and I never got around to it. But I want to start all the way over from the beginning because from what I read, it was such a good book, and I still think back to it a lot. It's one of those books that I don't forget right after reading, and yeah, I want to finish it. So yeah, I love The Elegance of the Hedgehog. It's such a beautiful story. And lastly is The Society of the Spectacle. I started reading this, and I will admit it is difficult reading, but I'm going to use SparkNotes to help me understand. I'm going to do both, read it and then look at SparkNotes, because from what I've read about it, it's a very powerful book and it interests me a lot. Thank you for watching. Those are the books I plan to read. If you have any other book recommendations or comments about these books, let me know in the comments below. Thank you, and remember to take care of yourselves.